Coming up on today's episode, we are back from vacation. We had a little mini vacation, took a cruise out, had to get away. So now we're back in action, ready for you. Week 7 preview. What happened on Thursday Night Football, though? Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers airing it out. We got some key matchups for Week 7. We'll get all that and more coming up. Hello, everybody. It's Friday. Welcome to Sports Talk from the Crib. I'm your host, Tanner Christian. Feels good to be back. Had a little relaxation. We took the cruise out, hanging out in the Bahamas. So that's why we didn't have an episode this past week. We missed Friday and last Tuesday. We left Friday. Just got back here on Wednesday. So it's a much needed rest and much needed vacation just to get out and enjoy ourselves and the family and my beautiful wife. So we had a great time, and it was much needed. It was one of the best vacations I've probably ever had. We sat out there in the Royal Caribbean, went to Perfect Day at Coco Cay, Grand Bahama. We're all out in the Bahamas, so it was pretty awesome experience cruising. My first ever cruise. So it was great to get out there and just kind of enjoy ourselves, unwind a little bit, have a little us time, and how was that, man? Oh, it was one of the greatest vacations I've ever had. And experiences, put it that way. Phenomenal crew, all the events down the boat, the island, the water, being out out there with this, this all of it, it was just awesome. It was perfect weather. Couldn't ask for more perfect weather. We had, I was kind of worried about, spoken obviously during hurricane season. We had deadly hurricanes this past year here in Florida, but beautiful weather, no rain, and it was just, what a perfect vacation. But anyways, we'll get into the sports action here. Week 7, what was preview here, but what was going on to start off on Thursday Night Football? We had a couple of old-timers out there slinging it around. Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. But before we get into it, remember, if you're new, episodes are still airing every Tuesday and Friday, available on all streaming platforms. Check out the website, sportstalkfromthecrib.com. Stream the podcast on there. Get some update information. YouTube, game picks with Coco. We'll get, you'll see our game picks. We missed it again last night, Coco. We got to get back on the win streak. But check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. We're on X, Feel the Heat Entertainment. It's Feel the Heat ENT. So go give us a shout out and subscribe and follow on them. So let's get into this Thursday Night Football game. Like I said, a couple of old timers, 40-year-old QBs facing off. Who would have thought this would be a shootout? Bengals been struggling. They've had lost they lose 4 in a row. And, especially after Joe Burrow went down, Jake Browning was in there playing quarterback. They trade for Joe Flacco. Hey, Joe Flacco, you had 2 games in 10 days. He still didn't know any of his offense, but it didn't matter. The Bengals win 33-31. They had a game-winning 36-yard field goal there at the end. Aaron Rodgers almost got his Hail Mary in. I thought it was he heaved that ball 70 yards down the field. I actually thought it was going to be a chance of DK Metcalf coming down with it, but Bengals, great D. That's how you knock the ball down on a Hail Mary. I bet you if Aaron Rodgers had at least 10 more yards, it would have been something else may have happened. Because he's one of the greatest of all time when it comes to the Hail Marys. But anyways, Bengals did win 33-31. Aaron Rodgers, 23 of 34, 249 yards, 4 TDs. He did throw 2 picks. Joe Flacco, 31 of 47. Who cares? Throw the ball 47 times. Joe Flacco, what do you got to use? He's 4 years old. 342 passing yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions. And then another bright spot, the Bengals could actually run the ball. Chase Brown, 11 carries, 108 yards. We all know these Thursday Night Football games, you don't know what's really going to happen. But guess who else? big timer, Jamar Chase, 16 catches, 161 yards, and a touchdown. Why the Steelers were kept letting him have those easy underneath routes, I don't know. Drag route was open all night long. T. Higgins on the day even had 6 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown himself. Pat Freiermuth for the Steelers tight end. I think the Steelers tight end caught what, like 3 or all 4 of them of the touchdowns that Rodgers threw. But Freiermuth caught 2 of them, 5 of them. Catches overall, 111 yards on the night. But how about these Steelers and Bengals? I mean, these Steelers are going to drop to 4-2 because of this, and the Bengals get a little bit of confidence as they move back to 3-4 now on the year. And it's just a wild game. Who would have thought this was happening, a shootout? Well, Thursday Night Football is really, just predicted unpredictable. You know, you would expect Steelers defense played well the last couple of weeks. Granted, it was against lesser competition, but the Bengals have been struggling all year. And then the Steelers played one of the worst defensive games. Jalen Ramsey was getting cooked. I mean, man, Chase was having his way over there against Jalen Ramsey. He had no shot. There was a lot of man-to-man coverage. Then that zone was happening. They just kept throwing underneath. A lot of confusion on that Steelers team. They only sacked Flacco twice on the night. Didn't get any turnovers on him. It was just too easy. You know, they kept giving like that single high look for defense, and the Bengals just picked them apart. Oh, you going this? Okay, this is too easy. It's like pitching catch is like practice. That's how wide open Jamar Chase and T. Higgins were all night long. And they even got the run game going. Chase Brown even broke a 37-yard run there during the game. It's just like, what is going on in Pittsburgh is the biggest question I guess we could ask from this game. We thought Pittsburgh was coming back. Rodgers playing okay. DK Metcalf really coming along. They're building a connection there. And then this happens. It's just like, whoa, man. If you would have told me, they were up 10-0 to start the game, first off. And we thought it was going in a positive direction, but then the Bengals just took the game over. You know, it was just touchdown, field goal, just very disappointing effort, in my opinion, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because if you ask if the Bengals won and the Steelers lost, I would say the Steelers lost it because they looked lost on defense. Horrible. They look like the Bengals defense that we all talk about. And the funny part is the Bengals defense kind of played okay. They didn't play too bad despite that. I mean, a few long receptions, like that Pat Freiermuth in the fourth quarter where the Steelers did retake the lead, made it 31-30 down the field. So there was some busted covers the Bengals still did, but overall they played a lot better. And going forward, maybe the Bengals had a chance. Remember I said a couple weeks ago, I was like really second-guessing myself because they got blown out by Minnesota, and they just kept losing so badly. It looked like the Bengals season was just gone. And now with this big win on Thursday night against the Steelers, they're kind of hanging in there. And nobody's really running away with this division because Baltimore is struggling as well. Cleveland's Cleveland. Maybe the Bengals can have a shot. And talk about this trade when they got Flacco. They got him from the Browns. And if you're a Steeler fan, you hate the Browns even more. Like, dang, you traded away him in his own division, and now he is playing for the Bengals with a lot better weapons. Hey, I would take Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, make my day go a lot smoother if I had those two guys as my wideouts as well. But great win for the Bengals. And going forward, I would say this. I think this win may have saved their season. They have a shot now. They have a sense of belief having Flacco as their quarterback. Despite being 40 years old, he don't care. He's going to sling him. Remember we said the same thing when he led the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs a couple of years ago and was just slinging it around, didn't care. Until they met Houston, of course, in the playoffs, and things didn't go. He went back to being Joe Flacco. But, with those interceptions returned for touchdowns. So we'll see how that keeps going. Maybe he'll learn to play. There was even a play during this game. It was a zone read, and Joe Flacco took off and ran and got positive yards. Like, what did he get, 8 yards on the carry? Pittsburgh be embarrassed. Jalen Ramsey, be embarrassed. Mike Tomlin, be embarrassed at how badly your defense played. TJ Watt, where are you? Embarrassed. Haysmith, where are you? Or Hayward, where are you? It's embarrassing for Pittsburgh and a team that we thought was going in a positive direction with a big loss. And don't count the Bengals out. Call me still crazy, but I think they can somehow hang on a little bit so Joe Burrow gets back. And you don't want that to happen, right? All right, so our marquee matchups, let's get into them for NFL Week 7. The first one I want to get into is the Colts at the Chargers. And the reason why is because Colts are 5-1, Chargers 4-2. Chargers have struggled just a little bit, but they're kind of hanging in there. But the Colts, let's say it, they're the number 1 team in the NFL. Their offense is number 1. Daniel Jones is playing like MVP. No, whoa. Just don't get carried away. Don't get carried away. But he's putting up numbers like Baker Mayfield, Pat Mahomes, and these guys. So, Jonathan Taylor's running the ball well too. But the Indianapolis Colts team is a little scary. And if they win this game on the road in L.A., they can be the 6-1 to really be, is this for real? Yes, it is for real. They're at number 1 in offense. I just can't get over the fact that Daniel Jones has a QBR. I pulled this one because it really is, at least in the NFL anyways, but 91 when he's under pressure. It's more than Mahomes. It's more than Mayfield. They're at 75. 91. Jonathan Taylor averaging 100 yards rushing a game. He's back to his old self. Offensive line's playing really well. The Chargers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. They're lining up 6.1 yards per carry, which ranks 31st. So, game plan, run that ball with Jonathan Taylor all day against this Chargers defense. That's going to open up the play action. It's going to make him take shots down the field, perhaps to Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be involved. And this maybe Tyler Warren. Like, these Colts, don't sleep on them now. They're making me a believer because they're winning games. Even when Daniel Jones, last game, he went back to being a little bit of the old Daniel Jones. Like, when he threw the pick. There was another throw he had that should have been a pick, but fell incomplete. But, he stayed strong, stayed gunning it down the field, making huge plays. Downs made a huge play. This team is just really efficient on offensive side of the ball. Night and day difference compared to when Anthony Richardson was under center. And we all know what happened. Even now, that guy got placed. Did he get placed on IR because of an eye injury he suffered on the sidelines during pre-game warmups? That was your first-round pick. This couple years ago. And here's Daniel Jones getting revitalized in his career in Indy and leading them to the number 1 team in the AFC and perhaps the whole NFL at the moment. So it's very intriguing. I don't think Joe Alt, left tackle, still going to be out for the Chargers. We all know their offensive line woes. Amari Hampton, of course, is on IR. I think they are going to get Quentin Johnson back for the wide receiver. He will play. So they'll have their whole wide receiver crew out there. Interesting to see. That's where Indianapolis does struggle a little bit. They're hitting up some big plays in the passing game. Ladd McConkey had a big game last week. Quentin Johnson's back here. We got Keenan Allen, the rookie running a Gatz in the second. I'm interested to see how he progresses as a tight end as the season goes on for the Chargers. Because then they could get in vital run game over 100 yards last week. I don't expect that this week because last week, they were playing against Miami. So I get too carried away. Anybody who plays against Miami could just rush the ball for over 100 yards pretty easily. Heck, I may be able to at this point. But anyways, a little exaggeration there, but you get where I'm going. So it's a big game for both sides. do I really want to? I may have to take him on the road. I'm going to roll with Indianapolis in this game because Daniel Jones has me being a believer. I like the Chargers, but every time I seem to pick them, they lose. So I'm going to roll with the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones because they made me a believer in this one. All right, let's get to the next one. This is a Sunday night football game. Atlanta Falcons at the San Francisco 49ers. Falcons currently sit at 3-2, while the Niners are at 4-2. Brock Purdy did practice today in a limited capacity, but I still expect Mac Jones to get the start. I think that's what the Niners are leaning to. George Kittle wants to play, is ready to play. He says he will play. So to get George Kittle back, Pearsall likely still out. Jennings is going to be limited. The big thing is Fred Warner went out last week with a season-ending injury. It's another huge part of this defense gone for the 49ers. And that's bad news for them because there's a bad man on the other side of the ball that's running wild, and that's Bijan Robinson for Atlanta. He is going insane. Especially last game. 484 rushing yards, 338 receiving yards on the year with 3 TDs. He needs about 176 or so yards, to reach 1,000 in the first 6 games of the year. That's pretty wild. We were talking Marshall Faulk status when the greatest show on turf was running around with the Rams. That's what Bijan Robinson is doing so far to start the year off. And it's pretty damn impressive. We all kind of predicted it. It was just a matter of time of seeing it. And we've seen it, especially these last few weeks. And Michael Penix is getting more comfortable. The connection with Drake London's there. We'll see how that keeps evolving. But I expect this Falcons team to go into San Francisco, it's going to be tough. This is going to be a big test for them. And I'm saying this why? Because I want to believe in the Atlanta Falcons, but then I don't. Because both their losses this year came against divisional opponents in the Buccaneers and Carolina. And they got embarrassed when they went to Carolina, where they shut them out 30-0, something like that. So what Atlanta Falcon team is going to show up for this game? And this is big telling because Mac Jones and his Kendrick Bourne connection these last couple weeks, former teammates in New England, now in San Francisco, and they're just lighting people up. And Mac Jones looks awesome. Kendrick Bourne looks awesome. He had 142 receiving yards in the last game. He looks crazy good connection with them. Can they keep up? I don't know. But that would be interesting to watch this game. Can that Falcons defense get after Mac Jones and company and stop Christian McCaffrey? Can the Niners defense stop Bijan Robinson and the play-action game of Atlanta into this game? And I'm not real sure who to pick. I'm leaning towards San Fran despite all the injuries because I don't know if I can trust this Atlanta Falcon team on the road yet. But they're not playing a divisional opponent, so why not, right? I want to see Michael Penix take that next step. I want this to be the game where he really shows off his talents. Because of the rookies, we had Joe Burrow. Because Michael Penix seems to be the forgotten man from that class. Bo Nix gets talked about a lot. Of course, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May. We forget Michael Penix. He replaced Kirk Cousins a little bit for last year, took over, despite Atlanta being in that playoff hunt. Can he do it this year? They're kind of in the same predicament, kind of hanging around that same record. It's time to take it to the next level. And I'm actually, I'm going to roll with Atlanta this one on the road. I just think Bijan Robinson's going to go nuts. I don't think San Francisco will be able to stop Bijan Robinson, despite, being on the road. San Francisco, the injuries finally catch up to him. 291 yards passing. They lead the NFL. Mac Jones, can Atlanta stop that? I believe their defense has really come along. I think they can. I'm going to roll with Atlanta. I'm going to be on the risk here and roll with Atlanta in this game because it's a big game for both. Falcons 3-2. Panthers 3-3, Bucs 5-1 in the NFC South. NFC West, Niners are 4-2, Seahawks 4-2, Rams 4-2 going into this weekend. Big game for both. I'm still going to roll with Atlanta on the road in a shocking upset. And then the final one, we're going to talk about that Monday Night Football game between the Buccaneers 5-1 at the Detroit Lions 4-2. Battle of former number 1 overall picks, Baker Mayfield against Jared Goff, both putting up MVP type numbers. Baker Mayfield 12 TDs and just an interception on the year. Jared Goff 14 TDs and just 2 interceptions. Big key injuries for the Bucs again, though. It seems like, despite all these injuries and them being not healthy, especially on this offensive side of the ball, and they're still winning. They're still 5-1. And Ibuka, that has a hamstring injury, he may not play. The sensational rookie wide receiver, been awesome to start the year. Bucky Irving is out. Rachaad White's going to get the majority of the play time again. Mike Evans is trending in the right direction with coming from his hamstring injury. He's missed the last few games. So they might get some weapons back, but not everybody. But the biggest thing maybe to take away from this is the Lions just don't lose consecutive games. They lost last week against Kansas City. They have not lost consecutive games in 3 years, since 2022. Dan Campbell, this is not allowed. That's when the Lions, when he first took over, and the Lions were just still feeling out, kind of bad. I think they were like, 1 of 6 to start that year. And they just have not lost, man. They don't lose consecutive matches. They didn't lose consecutive times this year either, despite being 4-2. So that'd be interesting to watch to see what team's going to come away with that. Big Lions secondary, big loss is Brian Branson. Remember, he is suspended for this game because of the punch he threw last week at Juju Smith-Schuster when they faced off against Kansas City. So they're without some more. I don't know who's playing on their secondary. Everybody's out, and they're all on IR. So I couldn't even name a replacement or who is even playing corner or safety, for that matter, there in Detroit. But so Baker Mayfield, I expect him to still sling it around house, hit one of the Johnsons, Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, Cade Otton. Who else do they got? They got Shepard coming back, right? Even Mike Evans plays. That's a huge plus. Despite all the injuries, I'm rolling with the Bucs on the road. Yes, I'm picking another road team on Monday Night Football. I mean, I can't pick against Baker Mayfield because when I do, he shows me up once again. He's on the MVP type level so far this year, and I'm not rooting against him. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm rolling with the Bucs despite the injuries. We'll see if the Lions can get Jahmyr Gibbs going in the run game a little more, and David Montgomery. We haven't really seen it too much this year, so maybe the Detroit can get that going. The Bucs are pretty good against it. They got this after the some sacks last week. They were missing there for the last few weeks, but they got some sacks last week. I believe it was excuse me. I believe it was like 6 against the Niners when they faced Mac Jones. So defense came back alive last week. And if they can stop this whole thing with Amon St. Brown and Jared Goff, keep Jahmyr Gibbs in that run game in check, I think the Buccaneers can come out with a victory, and I expect them to on the road. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to thank you all for joining me here on Sports Talk from the Crib with your favorite sports host, Tanner Christian. Remember, new episodes are every Tuesday and Friday. It's available on all streaming platforms. Check out the website, sportstalkfromthecrib.com. You can stream the podcast on there as well. And check out us on social media. We're at Feel the Heat Entertainment. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, name it. That'll be on the website as well. And check out our game picks that we post through the website and YouTube shorts. Excuse me. Man, I can't talk. Losing my voice here. Where Coco and I will be doing our game picks. Go check us out and subscribe to that channel. Thank y'all for joining me again. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. See you on Tuesday.